Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another episode of reaction and commentary. And this is to the... What was the last episode I did? It was episode 15. Okay, it was episode 15. So the next episode is... Hold on. Okay, last one I did... Let's see. Okay, sorry, I couldn't find the episode here. So, here it is, okay. This is episode 16. The times they are... this is MLP Season 6, Episode 16. The times they are a changeling. And start. Thank you. Okay. Now, I know that this episode has a changeling in it because the title. Duh. I also know that... why did my camera just make a funny... Okay, it just... You saw that. You saw that blur. You saw that blur. Why did it do that? Okay, it's not. Okay. Sorry if I look completely stupid. It's completely natural for me. Okay, anyway. And I know that there's a changeling in this, and I think this is a speculation from the other episode that introduced, that also reintroduced, that introduced Flurry Heart. People pointed out that they could see what they thought was a changeling flying towards the castle at the end of the episode in the Crystal Empire. So let's check this episode out. Starting the video in 3, 2, 1, click. Returning to the Crystal Empire!
I hope Shining Armor and Princess Cadence don't think it's too soon for me to come back to the Crystal Empire for a visit.
Of course not.
But I just know Flurry Heart's grown so much already. I wonder if I'll even recognize her.
She's the only baby they have, Twilight. I think it'll be pretty easy to figure out who she is. Sorry,
cute.
I know you want to visit your niece as much as possible, and I'm excited to see Sunburst again. I just don't want to fall behind on my friendship lessons back home.
You and
Starlight,
Sunburst.
your work in Ponyville isn't going anywhere. Besides, I think we all know you can learn about friendship anywhere, right, Spike?
Spike? Who's Spike?
Oh, you're doing that because you don't.
You're Spike.
You don't want.
And why are you dressed like that?
You don't want people to recognize you.
Guys, you're blowing my cover.
You don't want people to recognize
Don't you
you
know it was me?
because you saved
you're
the Crystal Empire.
in a coat, hat, and glasses. Also, we're the only ones here.
Dang!
Right. Spike, why do you need a disguise?
The last
I had
time
that
we came to
experience in the
Crystal
theater.
Empire, there was a lot going on with the new baby and the crystalling, but I still got mobbed in the street.
Had that experience at the theater,
I
empty.
wouldn't say mobbed.
And this is just a
Oh.
family visit. I wouldn't want the presence of Spike the Brave and Glorious to turn it into some kind of circus.
We get it. The crystal ponies adore you.
You did save the Empire. Twice. But still, I don't think your presence will turn our visit into a circus.
Not if I find the right disguise, it won't.
Carrot Top? Okay, first off, I can relate to the complete emptiness there. I had that experience whenever I went to the theater to watch Tron Legacy and Zootopia. I was the only one in the whole theater. It was awesome. The moment Journey came on, Separate Ways, I was banging my head and tapping my foot. I was the only one there, and so it was just awesome. Same thing with Zootopia. With the ending theme, head bobbing like crazy.
Disguise or not, Spike, I don't think you need to worry about being mobbed. No ponies here.
Okay, this is strange.
It's like a ghost town.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
So do I. Whoa!
Yeah, this is weird.
Very.
I guess I don't need the disguise after all.
What the?
The Brave and Glorious! He's come to save us yet again!
Huh, again?
Save you from what?
Yeah, what's going on?
Why was every pony hiding?
Oh, it sure looks like Princess Twilight and her pupil.
But how can we be sure?
We can't. Either one of them could be the... You know?
What if this isn't the real Spike?
Just drop him! Just panic and flee!
Something strange is definitely going
Because
on.
that's logical.
You think?
We're Sunburst.
Who goes there?
You don't recognize the Princess of Friendship?
Of course we
Cute
recognize
faces
her.
here.
But that doesn't mean it's really her.
It's
Okay, I gotta admit, it's really it's cute, it's both adorable and hilarious whenever Twilight and
It
Starlight
does look like him.
Well, it
are
would, wouldn't it?
together.
I'm sorry,
Them
but we'll need
do
to see
make
some
for some
proof of
interesting
identification.
commentary.
We'll take care of
And
things
jokes.
from here.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Cadence, thank
There's something on my
goodness.
screen.
What's going on?
Got it.
We can
Sorry.
explain, Twily, if it really is you.
Have you got a spell to confirm?
Sunshine, sunshine,
Ladybug.
Oh my gosh! We get to see this again!
It's okay, every pony. It's her.
Lower your weapons.
Of course it's her! What's all this about?
A changeling's been spotted nearby.
A changeling?
That's not good.
No, it's not. After Queen Chrysalis took my place at our wedding and invaded Canterlot with her army of minions, we're not taking any chances.
Changelings feed off of love, and ever since Flurry Heart's crystalling, the Empire is filled with more love
Oh
than
my
anywhere
gosh.
in Austria. It's possible they've come for the baby.
That's why we posted the extra guards, and why we're...
Checking every pony's identity.
I'm sorry for all of this. Flurry
What,
Heart's
3,
really
4
been looking
years
forward
ago
to
this
seeing you.
happened? A Canterlot
Oh, she's
Wedding
gotten
is
so
still
big.
one of my most
Starlight
favorite
and I will do
episodes of
whatever
the
we
whole
can to help
series.
protect her.
It is.
To be honest, having you here is already a big relief.
And Love is in Bloom is still one of my most favorite songs from the series.
The Royal Guards were wondering if Spike, the Brave and Glorious, would like to join in the search for the Changeling.
Really?
Okay,
I don't know if that's such a good idea.
can I say something
Spike.
real quick?
It sounds dangerous.
Come on,
Okay,
Twilight,
I know
this
Spike is more
Spike, the brave and
mature
glorious you're talking
now
to.
than what he was
Have you ever
before,
known me to run from danger?
but they're still asking an
You'll be
adolescent,
safe with our guards.
they're two guards,
Or
trained
guards
guards,
be safe with
that are
me.
asking an adolescent or a teenager to assist in a search.
Spike the Brave and Glorious. You've faced
Yes.
evil changelings before. What can you tell us?
And I've also been asked by the state police
Well, they
to
are
assist in
changelings,
cases
so
before.
they
Yes,
can
because that's totally legit.
change.
You hear that? These monsters can look like any of us, so be on guard, guards. Even more than normal.
And they could be anywhere. So we should cover as much ground as possible.
They'll start blasting each
You,
other, won't they?
Search that way. And you, search that way. And
Wow, beautiful.
I'll just search here, I guess. Not many places to hide. Unless that rock is a changeling.
Rocks.
Okay,
I don't
rock.
think.
How do I know you're really a rock?
I don't think they can turn into
Hmm,
inanimate
Not
objects.
talking, huh? Well, you can't
They
fool
have
me.
to transform into. Whoa! Nice. See? Whoa. Crap, that is deep. Okay, I was expecting that thing to just
Maybe
slide.
it's time Spike the Brave and Glorious went back to protect those guards. Ah! Just my reflection.
It's not your reflection, that's actually.
Huh?
Oh, okay, I've seen this gimmick before in cartoons. It's interesting that they're doing it here.
Just my imagination, I guess.
A changeling.
No, wait! Come back!
He talks. He talks. Oh my gosh.
This is unexpected.
Oh my gosh. He talks.
The ice is pretty slippery. I wouldn't want you to get hurt because of
And he's
me.
adorable.
You saved
Oh my
me?
gosh.
It's okay. I know you don't want to be friends.
Oh my gosh.
Wait!
This. Oh my gosh. This.
Changelings are supposed to be evil, right?
Evil? Oh, not me. All I've ever wanted is a friend. from the moment I first split my egg in the nursery hive.
Okay, that is adorable. Whoa, God, that's creepy. Chrysalis.
I was part of the attack on Canterlot during the royal wedding, but I'd never seen true friendship.
Oh,
like that. I couldn't just steal it and feed on its love. I wanted to share it.
Oh.
After that, I knew I couldn't live with my kind anymore.
So you
I
left.
set
So
off
you abandoned
looking
them.
for love to share, but
But what?
I'm starving, and there's so much love in the Crystal Empire right now. It's what drew me here, but it's driving me crazy.
So it was you that was
That
flying.
would be from the royal crystalline. It's pretty much a giant outpouring of light and love for a new baby.
Oh, sorry. I'm just so hungry. If I had a friend, maybe the love we shared could sustain me, but I don't think the Crystal Ponies want to be friends.
Okay, this is a really
There's some pony they respect and
good
admire so
subject
much.
here,
You could convince them to give it a try.
with the
Only
concept
that were
of
true.
It is.
basing
I mean,
your perceptions on
it's me,
someone off of
Spike.
their looks
Spike, the brave and glorious. I'm
and their
sure you've heard
history.
of me.
No, but I was raised by an evil queen. I'm Thorax. I can't
Thorax.
believe you want to help me.
Why? Hasn't any pony ever just been nice to you?
Oh, sorry. Kindness like that kind of brings it out. Do you still want to be my friend?
Of course.
Sure.
And I am 100% sure I can get the whole Crystal Empire to be your friend too. But maybe I should just talk to them first.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Did you see the Changeling?
Yep.
Did you defeat the evil creature?
What? Oh my
Defeating a
gosh!
changeling would.
Okay, this is a really good episode
Do you
because
know
of the
what would be
subject here.
glorious?
Defeating 2 changelings? Defeating all the changelings?
Not
Speaking
having
of,
to fight
where's
the changeling at all,
Chrysalis?
because I made friends with him.
Oh, wow. For a second, I thought you were serious.
He is.
Could you imagine friends with a changeling?
Oh my gosh!
I am serious. He wants to be friends.
Okay, this is an outright
Not only are you
saying.
Spike the brave and glorious, you're also Spike the hilarious.
I'm not joking. The changeling is nice.
I'm sorry, but I don't think it's funny. The Changeling Queen Chrysalis kidnapped Cadence and cast a spell on me. There's no
That
such
old
thing
dang
as a
dangle.
nice changeling.
You're right,
Oh, boy.
Shining Armor. Sorry. That was a bad joke.
So, what did they say? How many new friends do I have?
Well, it didn't go exactly
Oh
the
my
way I-
gosh! This isn't cringeworthy, it's
I understand.
really
Well, thanks for trying.
deep.
I guess it's not surprising. How
It's
can
not
you expect
cringeworthy, no.
ponies to look like this?
It's deep.
To trust something that looks like this.
Oh my gosh,
think
the
I
concept
might
about
know.
acceptance for whom someone really is. Instead of having to try to change your appearance to try to
Spike,
impress.
if you're done searching for the Changeling, Starlight and I could use your help. We're working on a protection spell for Flurryheart, and no pony takes notes like you.
Actually, Twilight, I wanted to introduce you to my friend, a Crystal, Hoof! Crystal Hoof! My good friend, Crystal Hoof.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, well, it's
Oh.
nice to meet you too.
So that's how hoof
How
shakes
do
are
you know
done. That's cute. I like that.
Spike and I go way back.
To the Equestrian Games! That's when we met. We've been pen pals ever since.
Pen pal, Spike, you could have been using my pen pal Crescent. Why didn't you tell me?
That's adorable.
Well, I pretty much only write to him when you and Starlight are studying.
I like to brag to all my friends about my letters from Spike the Brave and Glorious.
Yeah!
You're both terrible
Well, I'm
actors.
sure Starlight and I can manage. If you want to spend time with your friend.
Or Twilight's
Great.
easily gullible.
Crystal Hoof promised to take
Or a
me around the
combination of
city.
both.
That was amazing! I told ya.
That's cute. We got a song? Who's singing? Cute. Okay, so I'm really sorry. I'm curious as how's got the temperature outside. It's 48 degrees.
Crystal Hoof is nearly as entertaining as Spike himself.
Oh, this place is everything.
Okay,
I've
I
ever
do like.
dreamed of.
Okay, it just
But
now
I can't
noticed.
keep
I just now
pretending
noticed
to be a
that.
crystal pony forever, can I?
Relax.
I could be
she'll
wrong.
come over.
Correct me.
Pretty soon, no pony will care that you're a changeling.
He's
Spike!
the.
Twilight told me you were off with a friend. And any friend of Spike the Brave and Glorious is a friend of mine.
Oh, she's so beautiful. There's so much love around her.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm so sorry. I can't.
Oh dang!
Stop.
Spike, get away from the changeling!
Wait, no, you don't understand.
This changeling replaced your friend to get close to the baby. What other explanation could there be?
I like. Oh man!
I
Oh
don't
gosh!
know.
Oh jeez!
After it! Don't let the changeling escape!
Oh jeez!
I hope your friend is okay.
Yeah, me too.
Oh gosh!
Spike, you should go find Crystal Hoof while we hunt down the changeling.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to see me.
Spread out! The changeling is probably still nearby!
Oh.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he ran as far away from here as possible. But I bet I know where!
Dude,
Thorax!
you just kind of sold him out. Oh, he's gonna be
I just want
mad.
to apologize.
And
I
hurt.
should have stood up for you. Oh, come on, Thorax. I know you're in here.
Leave me alone.
He's not gonna save you this time.
Little help?
Unless you can
Why do you
convince.
think I would help you? I'm an evil changeling.
Because you're my friend. I just wish I had been one to you.
Man, this is a deep
It's
episode.
okay. I know it's hard. Everyone in the Crystal Empire loves you. I couldn't ask you to give that up for me.
You don't have to ask.
What are you gonna do?
What I should have done in the first place.
Again, this is a really good episode.
I know it's bad that there's a changeling around, but is all this really necessary? If there's one changeling, there may well be a whole army on the way.
True, but Starlight has a point. This is getting a little out of hand.
I understand, but I don't know what else we can do.
I do.
Spike! What are you doing? Get away from that thing!
No, he's not a thing. His name is Thorax, and he's my friend.
He's gonna sing? Spike's gonna sing.
Would you say I'm a hero, glorious and brave? If I told you something you wouldn't believe.
Look at, I love the animation.
Sometimes I'm scared, and I can make mistakes, and I'm not so heroic, it seems. But if day can turn to night, and the darkness turn to light.
Okay, I love this song.
Imagine a
And dang, Spike can sing.
no two ponies are exactly the same. No two snowflakes
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful.
And I thought I was strong,
I think a snowdrop here.
but I was nothing but wrong when I forgot to be friendly and kind. But if day can turn to night and the darkness turn to light, then why can't we imagine a changeling can change? Would you say I'm a hero, glorious and brave?
Oh my gosh.
If I told you something you wouldn't believe,
Twilight understands.
this changeling, it seems, knows the real me and would stay by my side till the end. So if day can
Oh my
turn to
gosh.
night and the darkness turn to light,
Starlight
why
sees.
can't we
He understands.
imagine? Just why can't we imagine? Then why can't we imagine a changeling can change?
Oh my gosh.
Spike, I'm so proud of you.
You are?
Of course! You're a celebrity here in the Crystal Empire, and you just risked all of it for a friend. I can't imagine anything more brave than that. As the
Or
Princess
selfless.
of Friendship, I try to set an example for all of Equestria. But today, it was Spike who taught me that a new friend can come from anywhere. I guess every pony still has things to learn about friendship, even me. And if Spike says Thorax is his friend, then he's my friend too.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Crystal Empire, I would like to extend my hoof in friendship, and I'm sure all of my subjects are eager to do the same.
Not all of them.
Welcome to the Crystal Empire, Thorax. I'm sorry we didn't take the time to get to know you. Maybe we can change that now.
That'd be so amazing! I want to know all about friendship, and maybe one day I can take that knowledge back to the Changeling Kingdom. If my kind learn how to create love for one another, maybe they wouldn't have to take it from others.
To Spike the brave and glorious!
Looks like you were right after all. Right about what? Friendship lessons can happen anywhere.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay. This. Okay. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes this season. And probably one of my favorite episodes of the series as well. Oh my gosh. Okay. There was. Oh my gosh. Okay. This episode was like a Kenworth. Okay, okay. There are other episodes in the series. Amending Fences being one of them. That basically hits like a Kenworth to the heart. This episode does it as well. And story-wise, this episode, oh man, I am so glad that they did this episode, and they did it the way that they did. Again, it's another one of those episodes, or those cartoons, that is able to, pretty much, it's able to somewhat mask the meaning. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, the meaning, the message, the moral, the story, it was still there. But younger individuals might not fully be able to comprehend the massive scale in which the story is referring. However, older individuals will. It's about acceptance. The Changeling was judged because of what he looked like. Because I'm just going to say it. The Changeling was judged because of his appearance, a different color, because of his background, because he came from a rough neighborhood, because he came from a rough group. That's the way everybody perceived him to be. They perceived him to be the exact same. But he was different. He wasn't that way. He was different. He was the good within that bad. He wasn't like the rest. He didn't want a life like the rest were living. He wanted a life all his own. And he wanted to do good. And no pony, nobody, was willing. They were afraid. They hated him because of the way that he looked. Because they had seen bad from other changelings. And one can easily interpret that in real life with a person's gender. With the person's color, with the person's background, with their heritage, with their country of origin, or with their gender. They were afraid to accept. They didn't want to accept because they were afraid, because they had seen the background that he was from. And they automatically associated him to be exactly like the rest without getting to know him. They misjudged. They had a bad perception. They had poor judgment. It was easily the whole, don't judge a book by its cover. They were judging the book by its cover. They were judging him because of his appearance and because of his background without even making the effort to get to know him. And all he wanted was a friend. And Spike was brave enough and had the courage and the heart to put forth the effort to try to make a difference in Thorax's life, to try to help him, and to help show everybody else that not every changeling, and a person could interpret that with other people in the real world, that not everybody like that is bad. And at one point, whenever it was revealed that he was a changeling to everybody else, or to every pony else, immediately they didn't want to give him the time of day. They automatically perceived him as being evil. It was what they had seen, and so it was something that they automatically assumed. They automatically assumed the worst without actually even taking into consideration that just maybe he had feelings and a heart of his own, that he could be different. And Spike, at first, he didn't stand up for his friend. He wasn't the friend at first that Thorax had hoped. And that's easily relatable, as a lot of us have made mistakes before. We've had times where we wasn't able to be the friend that we had hoped that we would be. And sometimes you don't get a second chance at that, but sometimes you do. And that's why you try to hold on to that. Because friendship is one of the most rare. True friendship is one of the rarest things that you can have. And it's more precious than gold. If I had my choice, follow the money, and if I had my choice between either one true friend and all the money in the world. Money would mean nothing to me. I would take that one true friend. And Spike Spike realized the mistake that he made. He realized that he had made a mistake, and that he should have stood up for his friend. And again, there's been those situations where you didn't stand up for a friend whenever you should have, out of fear, maybe for fear of being attacked yourself, fear of being judged, or just fear to stand up. And sometimes that happens, and it's a moment that you regret for the rest of your life because you wish that you could do it over again. But again, sometimes you're blessed with the opportunity. You're blessed with forgiveness, or an opportunity to stand up for that person, for that friend, for that person that you care about. And it turned out well. It worked out great. Spike was able to make amends for his actions, and he was able to be forgiven by Thorax, and was also able to stand up. Spike stood up for him. He stood up to multiple ponies, even guards who had so much authority over top of him, and he stood up for Thorax. And I gotta say, in that moment, that was real friendship right there as well. Whenever you can face up to somebody twice your size, for somebody whom you consider a friend, and you don't think about the odds against you, all you want is their happiness, that is friendship. And I've got those special people in my life that I would take a bullet for them, and I wouldn't think twice about it if it meant them being able to stay alive. I would gladly take a bullet for them, and I would do anything that I could for them. And Spike showed friendship. He showed so much maturity. And I gotta say, this is probably, this is definitely one of the best, if not the best, Spike episode. Completely. Spike was not portrayed to be a complete hero. Not in that general sense. I mean, he made mistakes. He had his flaws. And again, that's one of the things that I really love about how his character was portrayed here. He too had his flaws. He wasn't portrayed as being completely perfect. He could have easily been portrayed to not make the mistake of not standing up for Thorax at first. But he did. They animated him that way. They wrote the story that way. They wrote his character that way. It showed more relatability, more natural, more of a natural feel and realism for that. Because again, that is a mistake that can happen. It was more relatable. It was more understandable, and it felt more natural. It felt more real, more believable. And so I'm really glad that they did that. And I'm also really glad that I was honestly worried, that they would end the episode. And I know I probably shouldn't have had that thought, but I honestly thought, what if they end I mean, could they possibly end the episode with them still not looking at the Changeling like that, and him leaving? But no, that honestly wouldn't be a good message at all. Not to younger audiences, and not to anybody, not to older individuals. But I couldn't help but have that fear. That was like in the back of my mind. But I'm really happy that the episode ended with the happy ending that it did. And that Thorax was able to receive forgiveness and understanding and acceptance amongst the rest of the ponies. And it was that whole scenario. They were judging him because of his appearance, because of his color, because of his background. And Spike, it took one person, it just took one person, Spike, to help every single one of them to see and be able to look past that exterior at the person that was beneath. That even though a person might have a rough exterior, there's still a person inside. There's still a heart. There's still a brain. And they realized their own mistakes. And they were able to look past that. And they were able to accept him for who he was. This was a very, very deep episode. And the relatability and realism and natural feel, the comparison between this episode and real life is extraordinary. And it's honestly, it's episodes like these that really make the series, to me personally, it's episodes like these that really make the series strong for me. Because of the extreme amounts of relatability and understanding that one can view. They can watch the episodes, they can identify with the characters, and they can identify and relate and remember experiences that they have had that the characters are also experiencing. And again, like I said in my last, I believe it was my last reaction and review of 28 Pranks Later, which, by the way, I did actually realize that I forgot something. I actually wondered whenever I saw the title what it meant by 28 Pranks Later. It wasn't until after I finished the episode that I finished doing the review and commentary and I shut everything down. Then I realized it's a reference to the movie 28 Days Later, to the zombie film 28 Days Later. That's why there was the zombie ponies in it, and there was the zombie ponies in it, and then there was the title 28 Pranks Later, and so it was a reference to that film 28 Days Later. I'm sorry that I did not realize that sooner, but better mention it in this episode than in that one, so yeah. And I just finished doing that episode a while ago, so, I mean, like a couple of hours ago, so so by the time you get this, I probably won't have responded directly. I mean, so by the time you get this, some comments I might not have responded to directly, some I probably will have, but yes, I realized my blunder, and I'm doing this episode like a couple hours just after I did the last episode, so that's why. But again, I noticed, it finally dawned on me, it sunk into this deep pit of a head up here, that it was a reference to that film. So again, really great. And again, I wonder how many younger kids are going to get that reference. Seriously? How many 3, 4, 5-year-olds are going to know what that reference is for? Seriously. But again, great work on that. But yeah, this episode is definitely one of my favorites of this season, and probably one of my favorites of the entire series, because this is such a very deep and very true concept. And the way that they did it, the way that they played it out, it worked so well. It did. Because they did use a changeling for it. And if they had used just another pony, it wouldn't have worked, honestly. Because he would have seemed much too much like the others. But they used a changeling. And it worked. It was perfect because they were able to use something that was originally perceived as being bad. And his appearance, his hair, what he came from, that was what everybody was judging him for. Without actually giving him a chance. And I think I said the same thing before, that people are like books. You can glance at one just by the cover, and it might not look interesting on the outside, but once you crack open that front cover and you begin to read you might find it's a really good book and may even become one of the best books you've ever read. That person whom you first initially perceive might not be worthy of your time might actually have become or will become the best friend that you've ever had. And I know for a fact, not every single person out there is capable of friendship. I'm not blind, I'm not stupid. Not every single person out there is capable of friendship, is capable of giving forgiveness, or is really worthy of forgiveness. There are really evil people out there. And they are the ones that don't deserve forgiveness. The people that go out there that hurt individuals on purpose, those are the ones that don't deserve friends and don't deserve forgiveness. But somebody like Thorax here, he wanted to live a good life, and he didn't want to hurt anyone. He wanted to do good. He wanted to be good. And he wanted to try to help. He wanted to try to fit in. He didn't want to do any harm to anyone. And he wanted to try to he wanted to try to help out his own group, his own clique, his own family, and help them see that there was another way of living. Again, this is probably one of those episodes that really younger individuals, they'll just see the episode from a surface standpoint and won't be able to connect the deeper meaning of what's going on to reality. But the truth is that there is a really deep structure here that can easily be identified and related to reality. And this episode is definitely a very strong episode, and there is a lot going on in the story. And this, like I said, there is so much here. And there's so much relatability and understanding. And it's very true with everything that's going on. With everything that happened in this, it's extremely true. People will oftentimes pass judgment upon someone based upon their appearance, based upon their heritage, based upon their color, based upon the language they speak, based upon the country they come from. They'll have wrongful judgment passed upon them without even being given a chance to prove themselves, to prove whether they are different or not. And it's unfair that society oftentimes do that. Okay, a lot of times do that. But there are good people out there. There really is. There are evil people, yes, but there is good as well. There is good people out there of every gender, of both genders. There are good people out there of both genders, of every color, of every race, of every heritage, of every language, of every country, that are good people. And there are people right now on my channel that are from different countries, that are of different genders, that are of different colors and different races. Hey guys, sorry about the brief interruption. I apologize for that. What happened? What happened was halfway through my review, my laptop crashed. While I was talking, all of a sudden, my screen just goes blue, and I got the message. It said, Windows has encountered a problem, or your PC has encountered a problem collecting information for a restart. Your PC will be restarted shortly. And whenever that happened, because I didn't have a chance to, because I couldn't do anything, the video, my camera kicked off on its own. And so I was certain that the original file was gone. Thankfully, the original file was still there, but it was corrupted. I couldn't play it I mean, I could play it, but there wasn't a timestamp on it, so I couldn't skip to different parts of it. So what I had to do was I had to play it and use Bandicam to record that to be able to use everything that you just saw. And so I apologize for that. Like I said, it wasn't my camera this time, it was my laptop. For some reason, my laptop decided to pick that moment to crash. And it's only done that a few times, and I really don't know what happened. But thankfully, that I was still able to keep the file. I had to make some modifications, but I was still able to do it. So I'm going to pick this up where I left off. Okay, now what I was originally going to say, or what I was trying to say before everything decided to effing die on me, was I said that there are people of different colors, of different races, of different heritage and such, that watch my channel, and some are subscribed to my channel. And I welcome anybody to my channel. It doesn't matter what gender, what race, what color, what heritage, what language. It doesn't matter to me. I still consider you a person. The only exception to that are whenever people comes on and they begin to insult, discriminate, and make fun of other people because of an interest or because of the way they talk or how they look. That, whenever they are purposefully insulting somebody, that's whenever they lose their credibility title for me. And the people that want to hurt others because they enjoy it, that's not a person to me. That's not a human being to me. That is the true definition of a monster. And so, but a lot of the people that watch my channel are good, kind, civilized people. And I am very grateful, very thankful for that. And so, for me, it doesn't matter what gender, what race, what color, what language. I welcome anybody to my channel. And if they like the reactions, if they like the commentary, if they like me as a person, okay, thank you. I really appreciate it, and welcome. I want everybody to feel at home here. I don't want people to think that my channel is just for a certain kind of person, or is just for a certain demographic. I want it to be for anybody. And going back on the episode, like I was talking about yesterday morning, what was said, what was done here was a very true thing. And I'm very glad that they did it in this episode. This is a very strong episode, and it touches upon it touches upon a very heavy subject here. And there's a lot of good stuff in this episode. And so I'm very grateful that they did this episode. And we also got to see some Spike development in terms of this episode. And I got to say, that song that Spike sang, we've never got to hear Spike, at least not to my direct recollection, actually perform before. And I got to say, I'm really glad that the first song that they actually gave him was a good, positive, emotional, and very understanding and relatable song. I'm really glad that they didn't give him a goofy or silly kind of song. This is kind of one of those moments whenever a character whom was somewhat in the background before, and I know some people would probably disagree with me on that about Spike being in the background, but it has happened. You can't deny that. I think it's interesting, like, this is one of those moments where sometimes a character who seems to be in the background suddenly comes out with something that just puts them prominently in the foreground. And this is definitely one of those moments for Spike. I mean, what he done. He wasn't just the focus of the episode. There are times whenever a character can be the focus of the episode, but they're made the butt of many jokes. Spike kind of was the butt of a couple of jokes here, but he was really trying. They wrote him to be really trying and really emotionally and mentally struggling to try to get to know this changeling and to try to help others to get to know him and accept him. And Spike really came out on top here. And so this was a really good, solid episode for that as well. And again, that was a very beautiful performance. It was a really great song. And then we also got to see a different side to the changelings. Before, since actually season 2, which was 4 years ago, 4 years ago. It was originally believed by many, myself included, that Chrysalis was the only changeling that could directly speak. There was none of the changelings actually spoke, and so we had no evidence that any of them could actually communicate. That they were more primal, that they were more animalistic than actually being able to actually converse. But this is very interesting, that he could actually speak and had a very articulate flow with his words. I mean, he didn't have this gruff or like a Tarzan-like sound. He was very articulate, and he had a very good way with his speech, which was very cool. I'm really glad that they did that with him as well. And he was also cute at times. There was also times where he was cute. And so I'm really glad that they did that as well. And it kind of makes one wonder about the rest of the changelings. Like, can the rest of them communicate or not? Or is he just a special changeling? And I don't mean that in the "you're special" kind of way, in referring to born with something that some people deem wrong. No. I mean he was a special changeling in that some others can't communicate verbally, but he can. He was one of a few, just like Chrysalis, that was born with the ability to actually speak. Now that much we don't know. That much is still up in the air. Up in the air, and is still open to many fans' interpretation as to how that could actually be done. And so I think this does bring up for an interesting promise. I hope anyway, for the future. He wanted to be able to show his own kind, the rest of the changelings, that there was another way of living besides harvesting and feeding off of love of others. That maybe they could actually learn to love. That they could learn to love each other, and maybe they wouldn't have to try to steal that emotion or steal that love from other different kinds. Pardon me. And so it kind of makes me wonder, will we see Chrysalis again? Will he actually be able to go back and communicate with other changelings? And I know we've seen one other changeling before since season 2, whenever Cranky and Matilda got married. And somebody told me, or I read, that there was like a backstory that was never actually detailed in the episode, that that was actually changeling that Cranky had met on one of his adventures. And so it kind of makes one think, that changeling also was friendly and wasn't a bad guy. So that definitely says that there has to be other changelings out there, but not just these two, that are friendly and are misjudged by other kinds as well. And so I think this is definitely a very open and very heavy subject, but something that is definitely definitely a subject in which the fans can actually do more with, and hopefully the animators may do more with it as well in the future. It would be interesting if Chrysalis herself even came back and began to see the error of her ways and actually got forgiveness as well. That too would be interesting. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. It does make for an interesting plot point, but I'm not really sure if they'll actually go through with that. I'm sure artwork and fan fiction will do that. So even if it isn't officially canon, I'm sure the fandom will do something with that. And there was also many. It was also cute. Okay, that's adorable. It was also cute to be able to see the interactions between Twilight and why the heck is this thing? Okay, great. Okay, there we go. It was also really cute to be able to see Starlight and Twilight being able to converse together, and to be able to see the commentary and interactions between them as they talked. It was cute to be able to see that, and to be able to see them converse with each other, make mentions that about the different things, like telling Spike that they don't really think he would be noticed and such. It was interesting to be able to see that comical and adorable commentary and little quips, little quips between them. And to be honest, it doesn't really seem like they're like a student and teacher, but more like sisters. Definitely best friends and sisters, more or less. So I think that's really cute. I really like that. Um, and to be honest, I would have liked to have seen more interactions between Starlight and Sunburst. I think it would have been really cute for, like, if there was a segment where Sunburst was holding. I started to say Fluffy. Furry Heart. Sorry, I started to say Fluffy. I'm sorry. Furry Heart. Sorry. But there, I would have liked it if there had been a scene where she saw him holding Flurry Heart and maybe walked up to him with a sly grin and made a mention about him having good way with kids, or that he would probably make a really good father, and then give him a little quirky smile, something that says there's potential, or someday, boy, you and I, something like that. But I don't. I mean, I think that would have been cool. But again, considering everything else that was going on, honestly, I don't think it could have been fit. It would have been a small little detail, maybe like a little plot thing, but it wouldn't have been able to actually go anywhere. And so, to be honest, yeah, although it would have been interesting, it really wouldn't have had a presence within this episode. And so, yeah, I can definitely understand if anybody had that idea initially. I can understand why that they didn't fit it in. It would have just been like, hey, check out this nice site. Hey, it would have been more or less, hey, look, a side story. Oh, back to the main plot. So, something like that. So I can totally understand and respect why that something like that wasn't put in here. But again, it was still, the thought of it's cute for, to me anyway. And I do think it was interesting that we did get to see the characters hanging out somewhat. Hopefully we may get to see more of them hanging out together in the future as well, because quite personally, I ship Sunburst and Starlight. I do. I ship it. And it's very cute to see that. And there's also some other things as well. We did get to go back to the Crystal Empire. We got the callbacks from season 2. Oh my gosh, we got the callbacks from season 2. We got to see the references. We got to see things. We got a little bit of backstory. We got a little bit of backstory exposition with the Changeling being there. Now, he said that he was at the invasion, and I know for a fact, at least, I seriously doubt that even the writers or the animators would have planned that far ahead. But I'm pretty sure if you go back and rewatch A Canterlot Wedding during this particular scene, I'm pretty sure you're not going to see a Changeling just floating there or hovering with a sad expression. I'm pretty sure every other one is going to have an angry expression and be wanting to kill. So, yeah, but it's a good thing that they worked him in a way. It's a good thing that they worked him in the way that they did, because it's not like, hey, I was there the whole time, and then people are like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. We've seen that done before, and we've also seen it done poorly. And I think that the way that they did it, it actually fit. It's kind of, in a way, ironic that because there were so many other changelings that was fighting before, and since so many other changelings basically look the exact same, one could easily have interpreted that he was actually there, but he didn't have to directly be in that episode. And so it's I don't consider it to be a poorly done plot. I don't consider it to be. I don't consider it at all to be poorly done. Like I said, we've seen things like that before happen in films, TV, and such, and it was done poorly. And this one, it's not done poorly, not to me. And there was also interesting segments here. We got to see some really beautiful backgrounds and such underground, and we got to see some really nice scenery in terms of on the surface. We also got to see Cadence and Shining. Again, we got it, and we got to see the little dance between Cadence and Twilight. We got to see that again. That is always adorable, and it's always a welcome thing. But it's always welcome. And we got to see these other. We got to see Twilight kind of go into adorable book horse form whenever talking to Thorax. Whenever Spike introduced him. And one thing about Thorax's appearance that I thought of is his appearance. He had the way that his hair was, and the way that he had that band going around his hair, and the vase on his I started to say plot, the vase on his flank. His cutie mark, it made me think that his design was based off of Greek. It made me think that his design was based off of Greek mythology, because because the vase itself looks like something that you would have seen in Disney's Hercules, and the band itself looks like something from that one of the characters would have wore in Hercules as well, or maybe Aladdin. And so I'm more going with Hercules. I honestly, to me anyway, his appearance looks like something designed out of Greek mythology, and I like that. I really do. I like Greek mythology, and so I could be completely wrong, but I'm fairly certain it might not have been intentional, but it definitely has that familiarity in terms of its design, and I do like the design for it. The only thing that it was missing was those old brown sandals. I know they weren't called sandals back then. I can't remember what they were called, but you know what I'm talking about. But again, the whole time that I was looking at him, I was thinking that he looks like something out of Hercules. And then we also got to see. And it was also interesting, like, he too was dealing with his own struggle. Besides struggling to try to fit in with every pony else, he still had that born urge within him of being a changeling. He was like starving for that love, but he was trying to fight it. He was trying to fight back, and at one point he almost lost it whenever he saw Flurry Heart, but he was able to restrain himself. And he was able to restrain himself, and he was able to not let it take hold of him. He was able to fight it, and that was really cool. That showed a lot of mental will and a lot of mental strength, and it showed that his heart was stronger than that urge, and that was really cool. Again, it's a very subtle thing, but it's a really good detail, and it was really well done. And it also showed that he too, like I mentioned before with Spike, it also showed that he too had his flaws, and he wasn't portrayed to be an all good character. He still had something. He still had his own inner demons that he had to try to fight back against. And again, it makes it feel more natural for the characters. It makes the characters seem more realistic, because they too have their flaws and things that they have to overcome. And again, I really like that element. It makes these characters a lot more believable and a lot more relatable. And then there's also some really gorgeous animation in this. There is also some really gorgeous animation segments in this. The segment whenever Spike is singing and you see the snowflakes in his hand, that moment right there, those snowflakes was just absolutely gorgeous. And I just now noticed, okay, it took me to this particular moment. The snowflakes are almost like a double-sided coin. One side has a changeling, the other side has his pony form. I just now noticed that. And again, look at this detail. Look at this detail. Look at this detail for this. All these snowflakes all these snowflakes have designs. They all have designs. They're not just white dots. No, no, no. Even if some of these have similar designs to other ones, I mean, slowing it down, I can see a few of them that have similar designs to others. I can see a few of them do have similar designs, but they're all individually done. It's not just a cluster of white dots. They're individually done and all have unique shapes, patterns, and styles. And that is beautiful. That is absolutely gorgeous. For that particular scene alone, that right there shows how much the animation for this has come, and not just for this animation particularly for this show, but it shows that sometimes it does show that whenever animators really want to detail something, they can, and they did a fantastic job with the animation for that particular scene as well, because it was just absolutely stunning. I love how that each one was individually done, and in some other shows, I can't name any right off the bat, but in some other shows you would see just white dots to represent snow. Like, here's a white dot, here's a cotton ball, here's snow. No, no, no. Here they actually did, pardon me, everyone has a unique design, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, and I know that could easily make a really gorgeous background, a really gorgeous winter background. And again, it was just gorgeous in how that they did it. I mean, it was beautiful. In fact, I just paused this, and I'm going to grab this scene here because that right there is beautiful. But, okay, hold on. Let me get this real quick because, again, like I said, this could make for a beautiful background. There we go. Okay, that was beautiful. And again, it was just gorgeous. And so there are a lot of beautiful things. And then the lighting and the shading, whenever the light is shining on Spike and he's singing. And again, that piano, that orchestration, whenever Spike is singing, is just mesmerizing. It's beautiful. And again, Spike singing here, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The lyrics to the song and how the Spike performed it, and the music to accompany it, and the scenes that transpired to help convey the emotion was gorgeous. It all fit together so well. And sometimes I know we've heard those songs before. Sometimes the lyrics can have meaning, but the musical composition can be bad, and so it takes away from the experience. Other times the lyrics and the music can be really good, but the singer cannot be on par with it, and their deliverance of the particular of the lines, of the emotion, they can't help to, they cannot actually convey it, and so it's not, you can't translate that into a relatable and understandable and meaningful song. And other times a song could have good lyrics and even have a good singer, but can have good can have good lyrics, good singer, but the music is just way off, and it doesn't sound right. Inconsistency with the beat, jumping about. We've heard songs like that before, and sometimes there can be too much of one particular instrument, and so it takes away from the experience. This song, however, had the perfect combination. It had a good singer. It had, and the way that it was performed was good. The deliverance of the lyrics was good. The performance and the musical score, the composition was just fantastic. It was phenomenal, and it really helped to portray that. And then the scenes that was going on in the background as well was good. They really helped to convey everything that was going on. And as time went on, as you watched in the background, you saw the other characters, starting with Twilight and then moving on to Starlight Glimmer, also beginning to accept. And I won't deny that the way that the other guards just accepted what Cadence and Shining said, they seemed to agree with it a little bit too easily. They seemed to agree with it just a little bit too easily. But then again, considering this, considering this considering this is MLP, I can forgive it for that. Because if this was more of a realistic show, okay, the show is pretty realistic right now as it is with its tones and story and character depth, but no. I mean, if this was live action or something, then the rest of the characters wouldn't have forgiven so easily. They would have or understood so easily. They would have it would have taken time for them to actually warm up. But here they couldn't really hang that on. And they couldn't really let that hang on for so long. And to be completely honest, it really wouldn't have been a really good message. I mean, it would have been more realistic, but then again, I kind of consider that to be in a sense where it's one of our flaws. Even if, I mean, it's about trust. Now, don't get me wrong. There are moments whenever your trust can be hurt, and so you don't want to trust so easily anymore. I have been in that position before. You trust somebody, you have that trust broken. You become afraid to trust somebody again because you're afraid to get hurt again, and so you remain skeptical and wary because you don't want your emotions to suffer again. And that's natural for some people. Some people can be more forgiving and more willing to give, to actually give a second chance. And sometimes some people, however, they choose not to forgive, not to be so willingly not so easily swayed. And they make it out of choice. Other times, however, some people that they can't help it. It's a mental and emotional reaction. They want to be able to trust, and they want to be able to put that faith into someone or to people, but they can't do it because their emotions, their heart, their mentality, it won't let them. They're afraid of the consequences if it goes bad. And so again, that much is in fact natural, and it's understandable, it's relatable. But that's one tone that I don't think that they needed to convey with this, because some younger individuals would have taken that the wrong way, like saying, I know this for a fact. Some younger children are very easily influenced, and a lot of us can. A lot of you can. You know the truth to that, and that's why they say that younger children, you have to try to teach them as they're growing up. And if a child thinks that by a TV show like this is popular, that they love, that, well, it's okay to not trust somebody completely, then it'll give them the wrong impression. And so again, I can't understand that. While there is a lot of maturity in terms of how the show is now as opposed to what it was in the beginning, how the character development how far the characters have come along, how deeply the stories run now, there has been a lot of maturity and growth in terms of the show. But there are still boundaries that the show cannot overstep, and even I know that there are still boundaries that the show has to remain inside of, boundaries that cannot be overstepped, even with the characters, and with the story. Just like with Thanks for the Memories. Everything that Rainbow went through was the 5 stages of grief. And a lot of people can easily interpret older individuals can easily say that was a death episode, because you never saw Tank come back. It ended with Tank going to sleep, but you never actually saw him come back. And a lot of people can say that was a death episode because the way that it was done, in terms of the way that it ended. And yeah, one could easily take it that way. It was the only way, however, that they could actually do something like that without emotionally unstabilizing some children, or further emotionally unstabilizing some completely over easily offended parents. And so, whenever you have a certain demographic that is watching, whenever the show that so yeah, there are still boundaries that cannot be overstepped. But again, this episode went as far, I think, as it could have went with it, and it worked in that. I mean, it played it out perfectly. And so again, this was a really beautiful episode, and it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of this season, and it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of the whole series. This is a fantastic episode, and it makes a great follow-up to the season 2 episode in terms of the returning changelings. It has a fantastic moral. It introduces a really good character. This character is not, I mean, I really don't think that this character is a shallow shell. I really think this character, in this episode, has some really good depth, and of course there's always room to grow. But I think that the portrayal of him was a very good start. It left a very good first impression, and already built a really good solid foundation for more potential growth in future episodes. And I'm very excited to see what they do in the future. And so maybe we'll get to see more from that in the future, hopefully. But again, this was a really cute episode. It was a very sweet episode. It was a very beautiful episode in terms of its story. There was actually a lot of really good and really swell animated moments in this. And we got to see some really great animation. We got to see a couple of gags, like the moment where Spike is looking at himself in the mirror and he sees himself. And we've seen that done before in most horror things. A character is walking down the hallway, they see their reflection, and then they walk away, and the reflection just turns and watches them slowly. It was interesting to be able to see that played out here. But the twist was that this wasn't supposed to be a horror-based thing, so it was interesting to do, and it was interesting to actually see that. And again, I really enjoyed some scenery, and the scenery was Spike in the snow. Very beautiful scenery there, very nice. And so there was actually a lot of great stuff in this episode, and this is definitely one of my favorites. And so, again, to everybody that did it, everybody that worked on this episode, Hasbro, DHX, to everybody that worked on this episode, thank you all so much for this fantastic episode. This was absolutely beautiful, and thank you to everybody that really had the guts to be able to do this episode the way that it was done. And that was very bold, and it was very, very, very great that it was done like that. And so thank you all so much. Pardon me. Thank you all so much. And thank you again to everybody for watching. I want to hear what your thoughts are as well. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And hopefully I will see you guys again in the next video that I do. Take care.